to the Narrow Path radio broadcast. My name is Steve Gregg, and we're live for an hour each weekday afternoon, taking your calls. If you have questions about the Bible or the Christian faith, I'd be glad to talk to you about those. You can call in, and we'll talk about them on the air. If you see things differently than the host and would like to balance comment, I'd be very glad to talk to you also. You can call me at the same number as everybody else at this number, 844-484-5737. That number again is 844-484-5737. And tomorrow is Saturday. It's the third Saturday of the month, which means that we have a couple of meetings in Southern California that have normally happened on the third Saturday of each month. Tomorrow morning in Temecula, there's a men's Bible study, 8 o'clock in the morning. You're welcome to join us if you're a man and can make it to Temecula. And then if you're around in the evening in Orange County, in the town of Buena Park, I will be doing a meeting where I will give an overview of the whole Bible in one session. So that's something that many people have benefited from in the past, and I've been asked. We're winding down these Buena Park meetings. We've been meeting once a month there for the most part for I think about 12 years, something like that. And we're just winding that down at the end of this year. So my wife thought it'd be good to give an overview of the whole Bible before we wound those down. So anyone who wants to come to those, that's 6 o'clock tomorrow night in Buena Park. Now, if you're interested in any of those meetings, you can go to our website, thenarrowpath.com, and look under announcements, and you'll see the time and place of those gatherings, and you can join us there if you happen to be in the area. All right, we're going to talk today to Michael in Inglewood, California. Michael, welcome to the Narrow Path. Thanks for calling.
Hi, Steve. I just wanted to ask, how do you feel, or what do you think about the bombing of the Venezuelan boat that killed 3 people?
Well, I don't really have much to say about law enforcement and military engagements and things like that. As near as I could tell, these terrorist groups that are smuggling drugs into this country, we've called them terrorist groups, and our country does wage a war on terror, especially those that are trying to invade our shores. So it looks like it's kind of a typical act of war on our part toward people who are coming to, kill our people. From what I understand, now of course I don't know anything more than what the news tells me. I don't know these people on the boats. I don't know what kind of warning they were given. I don't know what they were carrying in their boats. But if the news is correct, and of course you can't always assume that it is, but they don't have any alternative information, then these boats were carrying fentanyl, which kills, tens of thousands of Americans every year, and it's illegal to bring it in. So if somebody's bringing weapons, if someone is bringing a bomb into LA and they're going to set it off and kill tens of thousands of our people there, and we intercepted them and blew it out of the water, most people would consider it to be a normatively, justifiable act of war. I'm not involved in military or law enforcement or any of that kind of stuff, and I don't make any strategies for that. If you're wondering, do I believe that a government has the right to use force against enemies, foreign enemies, who, in order to save, its own citizens? Well, yeah. In fact, I'm surprised our country hasn't done that sooner. That's what we call an invasion. There's been millions of people from other countries have come without permission and against our laws into our country over the past decade or so or more. And it's really amazing. We're probably the only country on the planet that lets so many hostile foreigners invade our country without doing very much to stop them. But it looks like our policies are changing about that. So I'm not against those policies. As a Christian, I wouldn't bomb anybody just because that's not my role as a Christian. But as a Christian, like Paul, or like Christians, most of the world over. I do believe that governments have law enforcement responsibilities in protecting their citizens and things against foreign encroachment. And so, I mean, I don't. To me, it's not an issue that the boats were from Venezuela or anywhere else. Our war is not with Venezuela per se. It's against the cartels, the drug cartels, and so. You know, if they want to keep coming in range of our military defenses, well, I guess that's up to them. Seems to me like they would have gotten smarter by now, because really these little boats have virtually a zero protection against our missiles. So I'm not sure why anyone would be stupid enough to keep trying. Well, I do know, because there's money in it for them if they succeed, and they're willing to take the risk. And you know, it is a risk, because they have been warned. They might as well just not try to do that. Anyway, I mean, I'm not a killer. I wish no one ever had to be killed. But I do believe that countries have the right to use force to protect their borders. And so that'd be my thoughts about that.
Okay, thanks, Steve.
All right, Michael. Thanks for your call. God bless. Robert from the Bronx, New York. Welcome.
Yes, I just have, I think, 3 questions. The first one is, what is or was Jesus' first miracle?
Well, the first one, let me answer that first. The first one that's recorded, and it appears to be the first one he ever did, is in John chapter 2, and that's when he turned water into wine. Now, the reason I say it's probably the first one is because after it tells of this miracle, it says this was the beginning of Jesus' miracles, which means, seemingly, it means the beginning of working miracles. So it's probably the very first miracle he performed.
Since you want to answer that, how did he get to do that?
How do you get to do what? Turn water into wine?
To perform the miracle, yes.
How did he do it? Or how
did he get to do that? How did he get to know that he needed to change the water into wine?
You mean how would we do it, or how did he do it?
No, how did he come to know that there was need to change water into wine?
Oh, well, I mean, he did whatever his father told him to do. So he, and his mother also came and told him that they were lacking in wine. That's how he learned there was no wine and that they needed wine. But he actually made it very clear to her he's not going to do it because she wants him to. He said, "Woman, what is your concern to do with me? My hour's not yet come." But when the father gave him instructions, he did them. That's, Jesus didn't just kind of, he wasn't a burgeoning magician learning tricks and how to fool people and how to do things. he just spoke authoritatively his Father's word, and it's God who worked the miracles through him. That's what he said. He said it's the Father who does the works through me. So how he did it was out of obedience to his Father, and he allowed his Father to do what his Father intended to do in every case. In many cases, it was something miraculous.
Hello?
Yeah.
My second question, how did John the Baptist die?
He was beheaded.
Yes, I know he was beheaded. I know all those. I don't have the answers. And the last question is the fundamentals of Christianity.
I didn't quite make out that question.
What are the fundamentals of Christianity?
Okay, the fundamental. Okay, I can give you those. But wait, why did you ask? You said you know how John the Baptist died, so why did you ask how he died?
No, because Jesus was on earth and he didn't have him. I know his head was cut off because I think a daughter of some king wanted his head cut off. I know that Jesus did not just decide to change water into wine, but the mother went to him.
Yeah, his mother went to him and told him they were out of wine. She didn't suggest what he should do. I don't think she even knew that he could.
I've been Christian since 1958, probably before you were born. So it's not that I don't know those things. I'm just trying to get, because people continue to dump on the Catholic Church as though the Catholic Church is inventing things. They said that the Catholic Church believe that Mary is still a virgin. And every Sunday when they talk about the gospel, they talk about just being Mary's husband. So they cannot be talking about husband and still thinking that they're talking about when he get back to Jesus. He was a virgin. She was.
Okay, our listeners may have as hard a time understanding as I do, but you said something that I think you said I was dumping on the Catholic Church. I don't think I do that. I think I mentioned what my differences are with the Catholic Church. I also mentioned what my differences are with Protestant churches and with Eastern Orthodox churches and so forth. I mean, I'm entitled to have differences of opinion from any group I want to, and if someone asks me what I think, I'm the world's greatest authority on my own opinion, so I can give my opinion accurately. Now, then you were talking about Mary, and I think you were telling me that the way that Jesus knew that he should turn water into wine is because his mother, because his mother said to her. I think maybe what you're trying to say is that Jesus was beholden to his mother, or that, I know that Roman Catholics, apparently like yourself, believe that we can talk to Mary and she'll talk to Jesus about it. I suppose maybe that's what you're referring to. Somehow Mary learned that the wedding feast had run out of wine, and so she came and told Jesus. But he said that he wasn't going to do it for her. He said, "Woman," his answer was, "Woman, what have your concerns got to do with me?" That's what he said. He said, "My hour is not yet." In other words, he's saying, well, I mean, I'll take that under advisement, Mom, but I'm not here to do your bidding. He had left home. At age 30, he had supported the family after Joseph had died, no doubt, and in the carpenter shop. And now he'd left home. And probably all the years he was at home, his mother used to come to him and look to him for the kinds of things a woman would seek, help from her husband for, because Jesus was the man of the house after Joseph died. But he's now saying to her, I'm not going to be doing your bidding from now on, and by implication, he's going to be doing God's bidding. So, I mean, if you're saying, well, he did a miracle because his mom told him to, and therefore we can ask Mary and she'll tell Jesus to do things and he'll do it for her, I think you're wrong on both premises. First of all, Mary isn't listening to us as far as I know. So, I mean, I don't know that I can talk to Mary. She's gone on. She's not in this world anymore. She was when she said those things to Jesus, but she's gone on elsewhere, and I can't talk to her. How would she hear me? She's not God, so she's not omniscient and omnipotent and omnipresent. She doesn't have all those divine traits, at least as far as the Bible would tell me. So, I don't know how I can talk to her, or why I would. Why would I? I would talk to God, because that's what Jesus said to do. Jesus said, when you pray, say, Our Father, which art in heaven. Now, if you want to say instead, Our Father, which art in heaven, I can't stop you, but I would say this is not what Jesus said to do. And if you're going to pray, if you really want results from your prayers, I do. I want results from my prayers. So I don't make up my rules about prayer as I go along. I figure if God gave instructions to me about prayer, I'm going to follow those as closely as possible, because it's hard enough to get prayers answered, even if you do. I certainly don't want to innovate and do other stuff. So Jesus said when you pray to the Father. He never said to pray to anyone else. So that's what I do. If you want to pray to somebody else, you can do that if you want to, but you're certainly not following Jesus in that. See, as a Christian, my duty is to follow Jesus. He said, what are the fundamentals of the Christian faith? The fundamental of the Christian faith is that Jesus Christ is Lord. He's the King. He's the Messiah. The word Messiah means the anointed King. God sent Jesus to be King and to be Lord. And the fact that he is the fundamental declaration of the Christian gospel. So I believe the fundamentals of Christianity are you surrender to Christ as your King and Lord, and you do what he said. And in connection with business about praying, that would mean that, among other things, if I'm going to do what Jesus said, I'm going to do what he said about prayer too. Because, the fundamental Christian duty is to obey Jesus. And So, I mean, that dovetails well with the whole question of praying to God. Now, you also raised the thing about John the Baptist, but I don't have time to go back into it. I couldn't understand what your point was. You asked how John the Baptist died, and I told you, and you said you already knew. So, yeah, I guess that's a mystery to me of why you asked that. But yeah, we've talked a lot to you now. We have a lot of people waiting, but I appreciate you joining us, and I hope that clarifies some of the things you were curious about. Leland from Boston, Massachusetts, welcome.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Steve.
Yeah.
Could you expound on what the Lord meant when He said the kingdom of heaven is like a child, and perhaps you could use the other chapter and verses which explain with regard to the kingdom of heaven being like a child.
Well, actually, Jesus never said the kingdom of heaven is like a child. He did say that if we want to enter the kingdom of heaven, we have to do so like a child. In other words, he said you have to humble yourself like a child and to come in. And here's what he said in Mark chapter 10. This is when he said, let the little children come to me. Do not forbid them. That's verse 14. For such is the kingdom of God. Then he said in verse 15, assuredly I say to you, whoever does not receive the kingdom of God